Hello. Hi, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Maheen. I hope I'm audible. We have some attendees already joined in. We are waiting for some more to be joining in. I see there is a raised hand. Perfect. Thank you. So we'll give another few minutes, 2 to 3 minutes, and then we shall start off. Thank you for joining in. We'll start off soon. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining in. We shall start now. I think we have the required attendees already joined in. First of all, thank you for making time for today's session. My name is Zulfiqar. I'm joining in from Dubai. Okay, today's session is all about Splunk Cloud. Okay, we are looking at the next 45 to 60 minutes to be engaged in a discussion on this. I request each one of you to remain on mute. If there is any question, you can post it in the Q&A section or even through the chat. Whenever you're typing through the chat, please make sure that you're addressing it to all panelists, right? So we get the question answers answered. So the plan for today is we'll just have a look at all the areas concerning Splunk Cloud and how we as partners should be concerned about it. We'll keep the last session for last few minutes for answering if there are any questions. Okay, I request each one of you to remain on mute, and yeah, so we shall begin. Mehreen, if you're there, just a heads up if my screen is visible, if my audio is audible. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Great. So starting off with today's session, the agenda for today, we are going to have a look at the key considerations for cloud transformation, why we are looking to transform from on-prem deployments to cloud deployments, the value out of Splunk Cloud, what are the useful resources for partners for getting enabled, learning, and proceeding in this spectrum, and the common questions or objections from partners or customers, what we have experienced in the market, the approach to take when we are starting off this discussion regarding Splunk Cloud, and the pricing models which are available and applicable for Splunk Cloud, right? So why Splunk Cloud? So the question rather would be why cloud in itself, right? It would be a more generic question. Why are we talking about cloud? The industry trends nowadays, as we can see, each and every customer, there is a shift in the traditional belief of having everything on-prem, right? Most of the customers are looking to offload their running applications from on-prem to cloud. We have many of the surveys available online. Some of them state that 83% of application workloads will be in the cloud by the past year, right? So whichever customers we have, uh, all our customers, they are in their cloud journey at some point of time, right? It's just a matter of time till each one of the customer realizes the importance of cloud, right? Also, there is a prediction from Gartner that by the year 2025, in the next 4 to 5 years, 80% of the companies will have all their infrastructure moved to cloud, right? So that is the importance what we are talking about today, right? So this is a trend shift what we have been seeing in the past few years, and you can say we are at its peak, right? Given the peak, given this, the role of channel partners is always a significant one, because we are the ones front-ending the discussions with the customers, right? Understanding the requirements, understanding the customer requirements, what they are actually looking for, what is the proper and best solution, what we can put up across the customer boards, and how we can help them take it up, right? So with that being said, the past year has been, you can say, kind of a trigger to this, right? Since the beginning of this pandemic, there has been, you can see, it has acted like a trigger, pushing each and every customer to accelerate their transformation, right? Everybody is moving towards a digital transformation, and our current state of affairs, it has actually pushed each one of the customer to accelerate this, right? So we have seen significant growth of customers moving or shifting their operations and relying more on a cloud first strategy, right? So 97% of the present companies have actually sped up their overall digital transformation journey. This is actually reported by one of a survey from Forbes. And more companies are relying to move or shift their daily operations to a more cloud-centric approach, right? So this is one of an additional push that we have already got from the pandemic, helping us in our today's state of discussion. Okay, so why Splunk Cloud, right? Why Splunk Cloud? So the benefit of having Splunk Cloud versus running Splunk as a software itself. I believe each one of us who have joined in today, we are already aware of what Splunk is all about, the power of Splunk, right? So we're not going deep into the capabilities of Splunk itself, but rather how it is different from a standalone or on-premise deployment versus what is Splunk Cloud and what are its benefits when it is being offered as a SaaS solution, right? So when it comes to software as a service, you're eliminating the first thing, it is eliminating all the extra administrative headache that customers have to deal with on a day-to-day basis, right? The difference between a SaaS offering and deploying your Splunk solution on your personal or private cloud is completely different. There are some customers who assume that if you have a Splunk license, if you can deploy it on the cloud, it becomes Splunk Cloud. That is actually not true. So Splunk Cloud is a SaaS offering from Splunk, right? So as SaaS offering, you get the solution, you get the access to the solution itself, eliminating the need to get and know what is running in the background, right? Regarding the architecture, hardware, resources, all of this is directly eliminated. So all the customers are mostly concerned about when it comes to Splunk Cloud is what data is available there, how to collect it, how to forward it. They're all only concerned about forwarding of data and managing the users. All the other roles which are required to run a full dedicated Splunk deployment is simply significantly reduced, right? So with that being said, all the complexity of managing the software, enterprise level software, is being reduced to like using a simple software. Okay, that is the difference between Splunk Cloud and deploying Splunk on uh, a personal or private or public cloud, right? Okay, so and that being said, Splunk Cloud has been successful already. It has been already more than 6 years that Splunk Cloud was released. We have more than 2,500 active production environments hosted on Splunk Cloud. Total customer searches have been are ever growing, and at the moment we can say more than 2 million searches per day are being searched on the whole Splunk Cloud infrastructure itself. And one of the largest Splunk Cloud tenant is ingesting more than 130 terabytes of data per day, right? So you can just imagine the scalability, what Splunk Cloud is capable of achieving. Okay, so to get more in depth into what is the value of Splunk Cloud, we'll just look at each individual factors which are helping us with this. The first thing is the service excellence level provided through Splunk Cloud, right? So first of all, it satisfies most of the stringent security measures. It is ISO 27001 certified. SOC 2 Type 2 compliance is also present. We have all the different ranges of market security compliances in place, right? So that is all the security related concerns which all the customers usually have, right? That is one of the major concerns of customers regarding the security. So we have everything covered there. The data for sure is encrypted in transit and optionally at rest, right? So encryption is also one of the concerns of the customers, which is directly answered by Splunk Cloud. And the best part about is the 100% uptime guarantee provided by Splunk, right? So you need not worry about the uptime or managing the resources if there are any issues, like what we are seeing currently on a day-to-day basis, why customers are engaged more and more in the administration part of it, right? If there is anything happening with the infrastructure, it is basically utilizing most of the time, and there are certain downtimes. So all of this is significantly reduced or even eliminated when it comes to Splunk Cloud, right? So the infrastructure promises 100% uptime, as well as 24/7 support team there to assist you with all the operations required pertaining to Splunk Cloud. We also have the option of running premium solutions, ITSI, enterprise security, and all of this are available at the highest level of maturity, right? So the deployment, architecture, all of it is taken care by the best professionals in place. So that is the level of service excellence Splunk Cloud promises to offer, right? Uh, when it comes to the value of customer resources, how many resources are needed to manage enterprise level Splunk solution, and how that is significantly reduced, and maybe using your existing resources, you can manage the entire solution itself, right? So there is no need to manage any backend infrastructure, or when there is expansion needed, the amount of planning and dedication required by the Splunk what you say administrators, all of this is uh, eliminated, right? And if you see the overall TCO, the cost of ownership is always, when there is a direct comparison between on-prem deployment or deploying it on your with the BYOL scheme. So the TCO is always less when you compare Splunk Cloud with this, right? And yeah, like I mentioned, the backend team, the admins are always available, 24/7 service whenever there is some requirement related to any of these operations required. So we'll check in detail what are the tasks which normally a Splunk admin would be doing, and which are directly eliminated, and the Splunk team would be taking care of it. Uh, and one more factor is Splunk, as we know, it has a whole set of rich apps and add-ons available on the marketplace, that is the Splunk base. And when all of these, we have more than 800 apps which are directly validated for Splunk Cloud. If you log into Splunk base, you can see the products supported. You could see Splunk Cloud is one of them. There is also an option for uploading custom apps, but you can be assured that whichever app is validated for Splunk Cloud, it is vetted well before in advance to see all the security measures in place. Only then it will be uploaded to Splunk Cloud, right? So that's how the validation happens there. And the main value of Splunk Cloud, what customers are seeing, is the speed, right? How fast it can be deployed and used, and the flexibility which comes with it. So for any new customers, uh, the speed, the level of when we are talking about the go live date, it is significantly reduced from a matter of weeks or months to days, right? So everything is ready once, even in the case of customers who are planning to expand their existing solution, right? Upgrade their existing licenses. Even this can be done in a couple of days, right? It doesn't matter how big your requirement is. Everything can be managed. For customers who have licenses 1 TB and above, there is CSMs and admin on demand available by default, right? And for partners, the Splunk Autobahn, which we'll be discussing later on as well. This POV, we have seen a great saving of time and efforts when it comes to delivering POCs and POVs, as well as the level of customer satisfaction when we have come across the POVs delivered through Autobahn, right? When it comes to the data retention, any Splunk Cloud subscription comes with 90 days default storage. Of course, it can be extended as needed, depending on the retention policies required by each customers. Okay, and one additional feature or benefit of Splunk Cloud is that whenever there is a new release or new version of the solution released, you need not worry about upgrading it or the downtimes revolving around it. So at all times, Splunk Cloud is it gives you the latest and best features what Splunk has to offer, right? So these are, you can say, the major value points of Splunk Cloud. When it comes to security, like we mentioned, the regulatory compliance, it meets all the industry leading compliance regulations. And when it comes to encryption, all the traffic being transported from the customer premise to Splunk Cloud, everything is encrypted in transit. And it can be encrypted at rest as well. That is, the second part is an optional requirement. And each customer, they have their own logical workspace, right? They have their own dedicated cloud environment. So it is like they are operating their uh, personal tenant on Splunk Cloud infrastructure. Okay. Um, I think most of us are already aware where Splunk is available. Splunk Cloud is available. So Splunk Cloud is available globally. It is hosted on AWS and GCP. It is available on, as we speak, at the current moment, we have around 10 regions to choose to. I'll just list out the different regions where Splunk Cloud is available. So whenever a customer is planning to, go for Splunk Cloud, they can select any of the regions or where they would require or where their data would be hosted, right? So there is an option to select any one of the region, and their instance will be set up in that particular AWS or Google Cloud infrastructure. Okay. Uh, yeah. So when we talk about the responsibilities, how and what responsibilities are needed to run a Splunk solution itself. So everything from the beginning, when it comes to the initial architecture or um, what version of the app, how do we deploy it, uh, the upgrading of all of this. So all of these tasks, I've just listed out some of them. Which person is responsible in the team, right? And what is the cycle that would be required to maintain or perform each one of these tasks, right? So all of this is something which is required to run Splunk in on a whole. Okay. But when it comes to Splunk Cloud, how the customer responsibilities change, right? How all of the administration overhead, the entire part of managing the infrastructure is eliminated, and the customer has limited or focused responsibilities, right? So the customers can be more worried about the data collection, what kind of data is to be collected, forwarded to their Splunk Cloud instance, and they have the capability to create and manage whatever indexes where they need to store, how they need to store. They for sure can define the users and roles for their organization, define the whole role-based access control, right? Everything falls under them, who can access what data within their organization. and basically work on the content, custom content, what is required, how to build any custom dashboards or reports, whatever. So this is the most valuable thing what a Splunk admin would be focusing on, rather than worrying about the backend issues or infrastructure on a whole, right? So customer responsibilities are significantly reduced here. So when you see all the tasks needed to perform when it comes to Splunk, and when you see the admin tasks or ongoing tasks which require to be done on a day-to-day basis, right? So when we are counting all of these around, there are some 12 tasks which have to be done on a day-to-day basis, right? 8 of those are done or taken care by Splunk itself, right? So uh, that is how significant the day-to-day operations can be affected when we are going with the Splunk Cloud platform. So the platform itself, the platform management, everything is taken care by Splunk itself. What Splunk actually takes care of, all your admin related tasks when it comes to the hardware maintenance or infrastructure maintenance, or even the software level maintenance, right? uh, Whenever if there is any issue happening, nothing of this is of a concern anymore when it comes to cloud, right? People are only concerned about what they are planning to see on the solution, or how they can further enhance, create new content use cases. They are eliminating the need of managing the entire platform as a whole, right? So any upgrade activity, uh, be it increasing your capacity or upgrading your software version, expanding or adding new hardware, new boxes. So all of this is directly taken care by the Splunk admin itself, right? So the Splunk takes care of all of these tasks for you. Okay, so uh, when it comes to time management, how a customer managed Splunk instance would be, and what would be the main efforts needed by the Splunk team. Okay, and the difference or the value what we would get when it comes to when it is being shifted to a Splunk cloud offering, right? So uh, platform management is going down from 40% to, you can say, 5%. And the major, the pink chunk what you can see, these are the high value tasks which are mostly focusing, excuse me, mostly focusing on the use case delivery, uh, or any custom content requirement, or investigation, whatever. So this is increased to 55% when it comes to Splunk Cloud, right? So that's the amount of difference what we could see when we see this shift in deployment models. Okay, so as partners, when it comes to the enablement, there are different multiple courses. I believe all of us, or some of us at least, have had a look at some of them before. You would need partner portal access to log into each one of this. There is a baseline e-learning course already available on the partner portal. Also the technical overview. So these are available on the partner portal for understanding how Splunk Cloud works. When it comes to the pre-sales part of it, or the technical role, we have some courses dedicated there as well. I'll be sharing the links of each one of this. Of course, sales rep and sales engineer, these do require taking up these courses before. So these are the accreditation courses, and they do have an overview of what Splunk Cloud is all about, right? Uh, Other than this, there are additional trainings that could be taken up. If you're planning to go in completely as admin, there are dedicated courses for cloud admin. There are many e-learning paths, right? So all of these are already available on the partner portal, and I'll also be sharing a link to the Cloud Central part of partner portal. Okay. For the premium applications, enterprise security, ITSI, all of this, whatever training is applicable for on-prem, the same is applicable for cloud as well. Right. The only thing is the deployment, installation, all of this stuff is something which is eliminated, that wouldn't be needed. When planning for certifications, uh, there are some courses transitioning to Splunk Cloud as well as Splunk Cloud Administration. These are instructor-led trainings available. You can take these up as well. And with this, you can take up the proctored certification exam, the Splunk Cloud Certified Admin. All right. So we have Splunk Enterprise Certified Admin, and we do have Splunk Cloud Certified Admin. Okay, so this certification mostly uh, talks about or deals with the tasks mostly related to administering a cloud, Splunk cloud deployment. Okay, so some of the common questions what partners do have, right? We have deals, or partners are concerned about the value of deals when we are selling term licenses and infrastructure separately, right? This is a quite common question. So when it comes to the value of deals, Splunk Cloud, when you compare it directly with Splunk Enterprise license, it would be costed a bit more because like we said, most of your uh, tasks, what a Splunk admin is doing or a customer resource is doing, is being taken care by Splunk. So that is how it is being balanced, and you're getting it as a software solution itself, right? So it is a SaaS offering. So when you compare the prices of on-prem license, term license of uh, Splunk Enterprise itself, and when you compare Splunk Cloud, the overall deal value is much bigger than the standard license, right? Uh, Bigger deals, and the service offerings are different as well. Moreover, the best part about is the closure time. End-to-end deal closures are much faster, quicker, right? We also, like I mentioned, the Autobahn process, that is also helping us closing the deals faster, right? The POCs, the POV, this phase is skipped significantly. And uh, the level of services provided on Splunk Cloud are definitely different, because everything is managed by a dedicated different support team there, right? And the services are obviously different than what you would offer on a standard deal. Okay. Some other questions. Most of my customers don't want to move their data into the cloud, right? So this is some question what we have seen quite often. So our discussion there would be like, uh, every company is moving towards uh, uh, cloud native infrastructure, right? Things have changed. Uh, if we take us back 5 or 10 years back, when the importance was significantly, when people were relying on everything to be hosted on their premise, that's not the case now, right? Every customer, even government customers we have seen, are at some point of their cloud journey, and eventually they are planning to move, right? The only concerns they would have is where my data would reside, right? But moving to cloud, that is one of the concern. But we can strongly say that every customer is at some point of the cloud journey, right? Either they are using some uh, applications which are hosted on cloud, or they are slowly moving their own infrastructure to the cloud. More and more, where we are targeting at is the strategies what we have seen across majority of the customers, which is having a cloud first requirement. Right? People are relying more on SaaS services today rather than spending time and efforts on managing uh, solutions hosted on personal premises, right? So that is where we are moving, and that is the whole idea behind how Splunk Cloud was came into the picture, right? So the discovery questions obviously would differ from a standard discussion what we would have with the customer rather than what we would be having keeping cloud in mind, right? Where are to ask the customer, like, where are you on your cloud journey, right? At which point are you currently on? All right. uh, and do you have any applications or anything already hosted on cloud, or what is it that is stopping you from moving to cloud? Because uh, let's be honest here, the industry is, like we said, we are everything is moving towards uh, cloud infrastructure, right? So the discovery questions obviously would change uh, to answer the question when it comes to security, right? People or customers are mostly concerned about how secure it is to move to cloud. We surely have the certifications in place, which are at least carried out on a periodic basis. These are third party or industry leading certifications, that is those are already in place. uh, all the encryption mechanisms are there. So and of course, like we said, each customer has a separate tenant or their own dedicated environment. And there is also flexibility when customers are looking for using a mix of both cloud as well as on-prem deployments. So those are also possible, that is also possible. Splunk Cloud, maybe they are using for all their cloud applications, whereas on-prem deployment for um, their locally hosted devices or products, right? So a combination of both is possible. Hybrid deployments are for sure possible. Uh, and rest assured, all the compliance purposes, compliance certifications are satisfied, right? Giving the customers a peace of mind. Uh, right. When we talk about some of the common objections from customers, cloud is too expensive, right? Yeah, we have seen some customers asking this question: why do I need to move to the cloud when I can manage everything on-prem, right? When it comes to understanding the TCO, when you compare your on-prem deployment and your Splunk cloud deployment, the tasks what we saw earlier, uh, overall, on any comparison, you would see Splunk Cloud would be more cost effective, right? It is a much faster solution to be deployed. Your ROI is much quicker, and your overall TCO is much lower, right? So your cost of ownership goes down significantly. Uh, this, of course, increases with the volume what we are talking about, right? The more volume we are talking about, you could see that much of a difference in the TCO savings, you can say. Okay. Coming to the approach, it's again quite similar to what we discussed before. Every company, we are moving towards a more cloud native architecture, cloud first architecture. People are utilizing SaaS offerings much more than ever, right? You can see in today's requirements, we can say Salesforce or uh, Salesforce is one of a very good example, right? People are relying heavily on Salesforce. They're not looking to deploy anything on-prem, and as much as possible, SaaS offerings, it simplifies things, right? So that's where customers would and are proceeding towards. So our like we saw before, how our questions with the customers, how our discussions have changed as well, right? So that would be the approach we would follow when we are dealing with customers on the cloud journey, Splunk Cloud. And when it comes to POCs or POVs, we have the project Autobahn, the Splunk Autobahn. So what Splunk Autobahn is all about? So it is quickest fast time to value project or offering, which reduces the time of both the partners and the customers when we are looking to evaluate a solution, right? So it is a cloud-based POV solution with its own preset or predefined set of well-structured use cases, right? It is like the customers can pick and choose what they need to see as an outcome of the POV, what would be the success criteria, what use cases they would be needing to see. And this, all of this happens using the production or live data of the customer, right? So with this, with that being said, it is like you can say a la carte of pick and choose of use cases. So uh, with this, we have seen a significant improvement in the time of closure of deals, right? So 40% increase, we can say, when we go with a conventional POC. There is also use before you buy phenomenon here, right? So customers opting for the Autobahn POV, they can start sending all of their data to this cloud instance, and once they are satisfied, they can just purchase, go ahead with the Splunk Cloud, and all their trial data, with just like turning on a switch, it turns into a production environment, right? So all the effort put in there also can be retained for any custom use cases or whatever were developed across this. You have a 30-day duration for Autobahn process. I believe all our pre-sales partners who have joined in, we are aware of this process, right? And for to proceed with Autobahn, of course, it needs we need an internal discussion with the Splunk team, because it will be provided by the team itself. Once we have qualified customers, then for sure this is a very good option to proceed with, right? uh, Saving time and resources both as partners and as customers. Customers are much more happier at the end of this. There is a very high success rate when we are proceeding with the Autobahn POVs. Uh, we have seen significantly large deals when we are proceeding through this process, right? And yeah, that's about Autobahn. When we're talking about migration, there are good key points where we could probably initiate the discussion with customers. Just we need to have keep a lookout at some compelling events whenever any customer is looking for probably a hardware refresh. People are using for on-prem deployments for quite a long time, and this could be a good trigger where we could initiate and propose migration to cloud. Uh, there are multiple what you say factors which, as partners, we could leverage them to position Splunk Cloud, right? People who are planning to move their data centers, or need to bring in, expand their existing solutions, they would need additional hardware. So all of these are some of the factors which we can position Splunk Cloud here, or migrating to cloud for existing customers. We have also seen some customers who are come in and say, we need for compliance purpose, we need to have a solution deployed as soon as possible. When time is a constraint, always Splunk Cloud would trump on-prem deployment, right? And other financial factors as well, taking into picture the Splunk admin turnover, or when customers are planning to move to their entire infrastructure to cloud. These are good starting points where we can position the Splunk Cloud as a solution, or migration to Splunk Cloud from for existing customers, right? When we talk about the pricing models, Splunk Cloud has two different pricing models: ingest based and workload based. I believe all of us are familiar with what ingest based licensing is, right? So it is the amount of data that is indexed on the Splunk solution itself, the uncompressed index data, I would rather say. So we are measuring this in GBs per day. How many GB of data is collected or indexed in Splunk. That is how our ingest based licensing model works, and this is the most familiar one. Pretty straightforward. I think all of us are already uh, aware of how that works. The second model is workload based model. It is defined based on SVCs. So what SVCs are? It is Splunk virtual compute metric that is being used for analyzing the amount of compute needed. So workload based pricing, I think most of us, it is a pretty industry standard nowadays when we're talking more on uh, uh, cloud providers. So people are already familiar with this pricing model. uh, it gives customers, large customers, I would say, uh, the flexibility to choose between these two models. We have a comparison coming up how workload pricing would work better for some customers instead of ingest based pricing, right? Ingest based pricing, you know what data is to be indexed, how much data. Of course, within that limit, any amount of data can be ingested. But when it comes to workload pricing, you are looking at the amount of processing which you are doing, right? So this gives, and there is no limitation on the amount of data that can be ingested. So this gives customers a good level of flexibility and higher ROI when we are talking about this model. So this interests many big customers who would like to go with workload pricing, and this was actually raised by many of the customers. That's why this is an option what Splunk has come up with to provide customers with this. When it comes to SVC, what an SVC actually is: SVC, like I said, it is a Splunk virtual compute. It is a combination of your a measure of utilization of your memory and IO. Okay, compute, memory, and the IO operations what are being done. Uh, just to simplify this, people or customers with a huge data uh, and are not able, or they are not able to ingest most of the data, and they are using Splunk for only a part of their important data, and they are leaving out majority of the data. The reason being, they have limited ingest based pricing or ingest based license, and they would be breaching their license if they would ingest all of their data which is available to them. So for different use cases such as this, uh, this would be the best approach to proceed, where customers need not worry about the amount of data which needs to be ingested, rather how they are leveraging the data, right? So we have use cases which vary in the amount of ingestion as well as the search compute, right? So when we are talking about compute, it would mostly revolve around searching, right? All the dashboards or reports or whatever, everything is relying on the search queries, right? So searching is a good metric to measure this. So the different use cases what customers might have, All right. So your ingest is calculated based on similar use cases, right? So there is a comparison of how you can define SVCs, how many SVCs would be needed, right, for a specific use case. For people who are using for more like a data lake deployment, or just for compliance purpose, they would have more and more ingested rate, right? The data would be more. However, their searching would be quite less. They do not do much of any operations there, right? So in that case, your less searches would imply less compute resources needed there, right? At the same time, when there are a continuous monitoring, or people with less or medium amount of data running, good amount of investigations, or continuous monitoring happening there, in that case the search would be significantly higher, right? So we can measure SVCs as a combination of this. Different customers have different use cases. Based on this, the SVC, the amount of SVCs also would be different. Okay, when we come to a comparison of both of this, like I said, ingest is fixed on the amount of data that can be ingested. Okay, uh, when it comes to workload, there is flexibility when customers would like to ingest more and more data, right? It doesn't even if you ingest more and more data, that wouldn't impact your overall license, right? In general, customers over 3 to 4 TB find workload pricing a good fit. Customers well with below that still stick to ingest based pricing, right? Because it is a straightforward pricing mechanism. No confusions there. We are aware of what data our organization can produce even at the maximum level. So ingest pricing would work good for them. uh, like I said, customers crossing or more than 4 to 5 TB, for them workload based pricing would be a very good fit there. Okay. um, yes, so I think we are on time. That's all I have for us today. Thank you everyone for joining. I believe there are some questions. uh, any questions, please feel free to share across in the chat or the Q&A. Okay, the first question: is there any certification drive for partners? For sure, we are in touch of majority of us, uh, guiding them to what certification to be taken. All right. Um, for if you have any query in specific, you can always write back to us. We are available to respond to that. Uh, any egress charges applicable on Splunk Cloud? Great question. Egress charges for what requirement would be needed to check, but as far as I know, there is nothing. We also have some requirements which come in where people are looking to extract their data. For extraction of data from Splunk Cloud, it has to be routed through the Splunk admin team, because all of the platform is being managed by them. When you're looking to integrate some third-party solutions which leverage the power of or the data from Splunk, of course you can always integrate that. But even for that kind of integration or egress, you'll have to go through the Splunk support team. What are the different types of licensing models? I believe we have discussed that. Do we need on-prem Splunk experience before we go for cloud certification? Good question. If you are well aware of the Splunk operations, how to operate Splunk, it is well and good. Like we discussed, the differences between on-prem and on cloud: you're eliminating your administrative tasks, like setting up the infrastructure, setting up the solution. Uh, so if you're concerned more about that, even if you have experience, it is a plus, but it wouldn't be needed on cloud. When we are talking more on working with the interface itself, of course, all your experience would come in handy. We have a question. Splunk Cloud Services is based from Dubai. It's possible can come in one cloud. Okay, I believe I listed out the regions where Splunk Cloud is available. It's not available in Dubai. It is hosted. It can be hosted in multiple locations, multiple AWS and Google cloud platforms. There are different regions to be selected. Each customer, they have the flexibility to select their choice of region. Do you have a TCO calculator or matrix template to be shared with the customers? Yes, there is a Splunk value calculator you can download from the Splunk partner portal. I believe you should be having access to the field enablement portal. You'll get a Splunk Cloud value calculator, which you can download and help the customer fill out. Okay, there is also a course or a small presentation to how to use it. Okay. Do we have, for pre-sales engineers, do we have predefined list of questionnaires for customers to be answered before we do presentation, or for sizing model? Okay, sizing model, it would be similar to what you would do for on-prem deployment. Of course, if the customer is going ahead with ingest-based pricing. So majority of the customers, I would say, even today, we are talking mostly about ingest-based pricing itself. We are talking about GB per day. So the sizing would be similar. When it comes to the questionnaires, we do have the set of the messaging, what we would focus on. For pre-sales, I would strongly suggest if you can take up the SE1 course. Under the SE1, you have the cloud enablement session, which talks all about what messaging is to be taken to the customer, who are the target customers, and what you would be talking with them, what level of discussion you would be having with them when it comes to Splunk Cloud. Okay, the next question, does Splunk Cloud provide the same GUI as Splunk on-prem? Yes, definitely yes. It is exactly entirely similar to what you would have on a on-prem deployment. If you have not used Splunk Cloud, there is a free 7-day trial what you can register as partners, or even customers can register for it. Once you register for it, you get to experience the interface of Splunk Cloud itself, but it is again exactly similar to your on-prem deployment. There is no change in GUI. At least so far, there is no change. You can see the latest software versions being released. Some are cloud only, right? So some for on-prem, there are a bit different versions. So what we are hoping is that Splunk is moving towards the cloud only architecture, right? Because that is where more and more customers are interested in. So eventually, if we see 5 years down the lane, we are targeting something of everything to be moved to Splunk Cloud, right? So that would be one of a good prediction at this point. Okay. Any other questions we have? Uh, okay. Another question: how long the data can be retained on cloud? Any default retentions, or is it indefinite? Uh, Splunk Cloud, when we are subscribing for the Splunk cloud subscription, it comes with 90 days of data retention by default. Okay, if there is something specific that you need to extend it to, you can purchase additional data that would be in 500 GB chunks. Okay, or there is an option also to use DDAA, dynamic data archiving. Okay, in this case, what happens post 90 days, the data will be archived to that specific storage, and it can be activated as and when needed. So that is the archiving data. Okay, for online data, you'll have to subscribe for additional storage there, and for archive data, that also is additional. So by default, you will be getting 90 days retention whenever you subscribe for Splunk Cloud. Optionally, there are customers can utilize their AWS storage for data to be moved to that once the retention of the archives also has passed. Right, so 90 days is your default retention. Once it rolls over that retention, it moves to your DDA, and once the archive, that retention also is passed, there is an option that customers can opt to save the data on their own AWS storages. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, so I believe we are on time for today's webinar. Thank you everyone for joining. It was a good audience today, a good range of questions. At any point of time, if you, for any queries, please feel free to reach out to us. We are available. I believe you might have, you already should be having our contact details. You can get in touch with myself or our team. Thank you everybody for joining. Have a good rest of the day and happy weekend in advance. Do take care. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you, Zulfiqar. And thank you everyone for joining today's session. Apologies for all the inconvenience before the session started. Thank you. Hope you have a nice day.